What do you strongly suspect but have no proof of? That my father was in a super-secret sector of the military during his service in the Vietnam War. Unfortunately he died 2 years ago, so I'll probably never know what he really did. You can request his records. Every unit he was in will be on them. I believe that Apple never actually intended for anyone to buy their $999 monitor stand. It was just an excuse so they could invalidate all warranty claims for the Pro monitor. We can't approve your claim due to the use of improper third-party equipment. Queen Elizabeth will probably live up to 120 years and longer. She is one of the best fed and most cared person on earth. If we invented something for immortality already, she likely took it already. Hard to argue with that. On a related note, I remember reading about a study where old mice, after having received blood transfusions from young mice, began to show signs of youthful vigor. I suspect that some old rich people caught wind of this and may be receiving transfusions of their own. Historians plus 200 years from now will be able to look at all of the private messages and data of people who have been long dead. Similar to how we can read private letters of people from 1700s. That some Canadian guy who owns an antique shop that I bought a camera from in April recognized me. He acted flustered when I came in and I came back the next day to make my purchase. He sold me the camera for what I thought was a reasonable price and threw in an owner's manual in near perfect condition. A quick Google search reveals that it's an extremely rare camera that was only produced for 2 years. 1/1000th still in existence are operational, and 1 out of every 1,000 working ones still has a certain part. Mine does. This guy's whole shop was based around antique cameras, and my dad talked shop with him for a while, and he even explained to me how to find film or modify some for my camera. He knew what he was selling me and lost a lot of money on the transaction. I even got it appraised to confirm my suspicions about what it was. He's a time traveler, and you're destined to take a very important picture with that specific camera. That Bath & Body Works has like 13 unique scents. Every couple of months they just rotate the scents and call them something else. I read something similar to this by Yankee Candle Outlet employee. Most of the scents are identical, but the names get licensed, so they need to be changed from what's in the actual chain stores. And half the time in those main stores the new seasonal scent has just been renamed from last season. My phone isn't really at 100% when it tells me it is. If you go to settings to battery to service, it shows you how much percentage your phone actually has when it says 100% compared to when you first got it. There's one company in a town local to me who board up windows. Nobody else in the area seems to do it. Every single window, door, abandoned shop, all done by this one company. They've got a ridiculous sized HQ and have put a decent amount of money towards fixing up other buildings in the area. So I've got a theory they're the ones doing the damage or paying people to do it, and then obviously getting the job of fixing it up as they're really well known in the area. Despite having no proof of this, I am 100% confident I am onto them. Someone was repeatedly breaking my BJJ gym's windows, my gym being heavily populated by cops, and PIs set up surveillance and caught the window repair guy doing it. That a lot of businesses in my hometown are just money laundering operations. 25 nail salons in a town of 70,000. 3,000 square foot DVD rental shop in the best block of downtown where commercial rents are very high. Dozens of $10 barber shops sitting empty all day but remaining open. Red flags all around. Love this one. There's some sort of metaphorical goggles you can put on and you'll just look around somewhere and see things slightly out of perspective and it just stands out. Like, seriously, when have you ever seen someone walk into a mattress store? And yet I've accepted the fact that they're so common and haven't thought twice about it. Edit. Obviously I'm not convinced all mattress stores are scheming money laundering operations. It was just an example and I found it interesting. I'm just saying, go outside without your personal bias or normal behavior, you might see something new. Suspect my physically and mentally abusive ex-husband was planning on offing me during our separation, divorce. He got a $75,000 life insurance policy on me during our separation. Found out 2 years after our divorce when he had overpaid the policy and the insurance sent me a refund check. Mistake on their part. He had invited me to join family vacation at Grand Canyon. I said no. He invited me to the mountains that same summer to be a family again. I said no. Then he invited me to Mexico for reconciliation. Again no. I said no because the gut feelings I had and my mom told me not to. She had 3 dreams in a row that my soon-to-be ex-husband would tell her I was dead each time I was invited. Ex-sister-in-law was a guard at a men's prison and used to tell she knew people who could make her ex-husband disappear. I have no proof, just the insurance policy and my mom's dreams. 2 years after divorce he cancelled policy. I didn't know you could get insurance on someone without them knowing. Some zoos have empty exhibits and just claim the animal is in there, you just never see them. Somewhat unrelated, I was just thinking how cool a nocturnal zoo would be. Only open at night and they specialize in species that only are awake at night. That'd be sweet. Probably no business but cool nonetheless. There is a group collecting illicit and immoral activities committed by people online who think they are protected by anonymity. This information will later be accessible for anyone who is looking for reasons to oust someone from a position of power or authority. That promotion you want, and 20 years out comes that drunk quasi-racist Twitter post from 2015 sent anonymously to HR. Promotion denied, your rival mysteriously gets it instead. As that post would qualify as public information, it's unprotected from libel or defamatory charges. This could become a seriously large-scale business worked by algorithms and an AI. The Kardashians usually wear solid-colored clothing because it's easier for them to Photoshop. That the ginger ale at the diner I go to every day is just Coke and Sprite mixed together. It is actually not unheard of for ginger ale to be swapped out for the Coke, Sprite combo. They are just counting on you not noticing. Source: used to work in the service industry. I believe my grandmother was a serial killer. She was married 7 times, each ending in a sudden death. She died in the 1980s, but everything is still suspicious and no one seems to know anything. I did find an article about her when she came to the US where her first husband died defending her after her ex-boyfriend climbed in her window. In New York City I also found evidence of her having been in prison before coming to the US. My dad married a Filipino woman while he was in Nam, and brought her back to Cali. They divorced and she went home when she discovered she was pregnant a couple weeks later. I just found out I'm 30 and my dad has been dead for 18 years, so I have a 50-ish Filipino sibling out there somewhere. Reddit questions are a clever way AI could compile data on every one of us. It's taking questions like, what would you buy if you could only buy things with the first letter of your name? Children of the 80s, what is it in your state, country that is capable of building a profile on all of us? Reddit. In my city something bad is about to happen. I see a lot of mansions on sale, and houses with good location too. I think rich people know something that the rest of the people don't. Pretty paranoid, sorry. Edit 1. The economic conjectures are accurate, but in this city we have a petrochemistry, and like a month ago, an explosion was listened on all the city. Saying okay Google is Pavlov teaching humans to comply to AI and machines. The green man and red man on walk signals are Pavlovian teaching tools orchestrated by aliens to make us obey the little green men when they invade and see them as our friends, and contrariwise that they're enemies. The bright red humanoids of Alpha Ceti Spaghetti Vi represent danger and want to stop us. Only about 10% of lottery winners actually win those huge Powerballs. Of course someone real has to win, sometimes can't have no winners or people would get suspicious, but honestly, who would know if there was no real winner? Since the chances are so small, nobody gets suspicious if their ticket doesn't win. Basically free money for the state to use, not to mention the states that allow you to remain anonymous. The solution to the Fermi paradox is that any species that attains technological society is doomed to self-destruction. Think about all of the times you have seen mold grow in a sealed environment. It grows without bounds until it chokes on its own byproducts. We are no different on a galactic scale. I had started to think the same as you recently, and that this was indeed the great filter that has been missed. It wouldn't destroy humanity, but if it's a cyclical process, he could keep us from ever reaching out properly into the stars. That Alzheimer's disease is caused by a long series of small brain infections that are brought about by a leaky blood-brain barrier. That the plaques that form in the brain are a result of these relatively minor infections. Something then crosses which would normally be blocked out, causes a malformed tau protein, and the tangles start forming, which causes the neurological degradation. It would explain why people can have plaques but no symptoms, why it predominantly affects older people, why busting the plaques has seemingly no effect on the progression of the disease in humans, and why 30 years and billions of dollars of research has essentially gotten us nowhere. But I am not, nor am I a medical researcher, so I can't really speak to the veracity of my claims.